Imagine waking up one morning to discover that the most powerful weapon ever created had been built in complete secrecy, hidden from almost the entire world. A project so classified that more than 100,000 people worked on it, yet most of them had no idea what they were actually helping to create. It was one of the greatest scientific achievements in history, but it also became one of humanity's most controversial inventions. This is the incredible story of the Manhattan Project, the secret mission that changed the world forever. I'm Puja, and today we're uncovering how America built the first atomic bomb in complete secrecy. The story begins in 1939, as Europe stood on the edge of another devastating war. Nazi Germany was rapidly expanding its power, and many of the world's greatest scientists feared something even more dangerous. They believed Germany might be trying to build an atomic bomb. At the time, nuclear physics was still a young field, but researchers had discovered that splitting the atom could release an enormous amount of energy. If that energy could be controlled, it might create the most destructive weapon ever imagined. One scientist who understood this danger better than anyone was Albert Einstein. Although Einstein did not work on the bomb itself, he signed a famous letter written by physicist Leo Szilard and sent it to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The letter warned that Nazi Germany could be developing nuclear weapons and urged the United States to begin its own research immediately. Roosevelt took the warning seriously. What started as a small scientific investigation soon grew into one of the largest and most expensive secret projects in history. It became known as the Manhattan Project. The United States recruited some of the brightest scientists from around the world, including physicists, engineers, chemists, mathematicians, and military leaders. Their mission was simple in theory, but incredibly difficult in practice: build an atomic bomb before Nazi Germany did. To protect the project from enemy spies, the government surrounded it with extraordinary secrecy. Entire research facilities were built in remote locations across the country. Places like Los Alamos in New Mexico, Oak Ridge in Tennessee, and Hanford in Washington became secret cities almost overnight. Thousands of workers arrived without being told exactly what they would be doing. Many only knew a small part of the process. A technician might spend months operating a single machine without ever learning what the final product was. Even husbands and wives working at the same facility often couldn't discuss their jobs because of strict security rules. Letters were monitored, conversations were limited, and security officers watched every aspect of daily life. The project eventually employed more than 130,000 people, yet only a small group understood the true objective. Leading the scientific team was Robert Oppenheimer, a brilliant physicist who was chosen to direct the secret laboratory at Los Alamos. Oppenheimer gathered some of the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century and challenged them to solve problems that had never been solved before. Every day brought new obstacles. The team had to understand nuclear reactions, develop completely new technologies, and design a weapon unlike anything the world had ever seen. Failure was not considered an option because many feared that if Germany built the bomb first, the outcome of World War II could change forever. As months turned into years, scientists worked day and night under enormous pressure, knowing that history itself might depend on their success. By early 1945, after countless experiments, calculations, and setbacks, the project was approaching its final and most dangerous challenge. The world was about to witness a scientific breakthrough that would forever change warfare, politics, and the future of humanity. But no one knew whether the first atomic bomb would actually work until the moment it was tested.
In the early morning hours of July 16, 1945, the scientists and military leaders gathered in the New Mexico desert for the most important experiment of their lives. The test was given the code name Trinity. No one knew for certain what would happen when the device exploded. Some feared it might fail completely, while others worried it could unleash a force beyond imagination. The countdown reached 0. A blinding flash lit up the desert, turning night into day. Seconds later, an enormous fireball rose into the sky, followed by the now famous mushroom cloud. The explosion released energy unlike anything humanity had ever witnessed. The shockwave was felt miles away, and those watching knew the world had entered a completely new era. Years later, Robert Oppenheimer recalled a line from the Bhagavad Gita. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The successful Trinity Test proved that the Manhattan Project had achieved its goal. Just weeks later, world leaders faced a decision that would become one of the most debated in history. World War II was still raging in the Pacific, and Japan had not surrendered. President Harry S. Truman authorized the use of the new weapon, believing it could bring the war to an end more quickly, though historians continued to debate the decision and its consequences. On August 6, 1945, an atomic bomb called Little Boy was dropped on Hiroshima. 3 days later, a second bomb called Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki. The explosions caused catastrophic destruction and the loss of many lives. Shortly afterward, Japan announced its surrender, bringing World War II to an end. The Manhattan Project had changed history forever, but it also marked the beginning of the nuclear age. Nations around the world realized that nuclear weapons had the power to destroy entire cities in moments. This led to a global arms race during the Cold War, as countries rushed to build their own nuclear arsenals. At the same time, nuclear science also found peaceful applications in medicine, energy production, and scientific research, showing that the same discoveries could be used to save lives as well as take them. Even today, the Manhattan Project remains one of the most remarkable and controversial achievements in human history. It demonstrated what science, engineering, and determination could accomplish under extraordinary pressure. But it also raised difficult moral questions that continue to be discussed decades later. Was it a necessary step to end a devastating war? Or did it forever change warfare in ways the world still struggles to manage? That question remains part of history's ongoing conversation. One thing, however, is beyond dispute. The Manhattan Project transformed the 20th century and reshaped global politics, military strategy, and scientific progress in ways that continue to influence our world. I'm Puja, and thank you for joining me on this journey through one of the most important secret missions in history. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more fascinating stories about history, science, and the events that changed our world. Thank you for watching, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.